What if I told you the 7 deadly sins aren't actually sins? At least, not in the way you might think. From a psychological standpoint, they're not signs of inherent evil, but rather, they're natural human drives that have gone into overdrive. Think of them as the dark side of our survival instincts. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind the 7 deadly sins to understand what they really are, why we all experience them, and when they cross the line from a natural impulse to a destructive force. Let's start with the one often called the root of all others: pride. In psychology, we talk about 2 types of pride. There's healthy self-esteem, that feeling of accomplishment that pushes you to achieve great things. That's adaptive pride. But then there's hubristic pride. This is the inflated defensive superiority complex. It's linked to narcissism, aggression, and a tendency to devalue others. It's the kind of pride that builds walls instead of bridges, whispering in your ear that you're better than everyone else, which ultimately isolates you. So, when does a healthy sense of self-worth curdle into a sin? It's when your self-love comes at the expense of loving, or even respecting, others. Next up, greed. The desire for more money, more status, more stuff, is a powerful motivator. In a balanced way, it can drive you to work hard, innovate, and build a secure life for yourself and your family. But when it becomes unchecked, it's called materialism. Psychologically, this is linked to a cold, competitive view of the world. Studies show that highly materialistic people tend to have less empathy and are often less happy. Their relationships can become transactional, and their pursuit of more never actually fills the void. Greed becomes a problem when the accumulation of things becomes more important than the people and experiences that truly bring joy. Now let's talk about lust. From an evolutionary perspective, this one is pretty straightforward. It's the powerful biological drive that ensures the continuation of our species. It's a fundamental part of being human. The sin here isn't the feeling itself, but its lack of constraint. When lust leads to objectifying others, breaking commitments, or ignoring consent, it spirals into something destructive. It becomes problematic when it overpowers self-control and respect, causing harm to yourself and your relationships. It's the difference between a healthy, consensual expression of intimacy and an impulse that disregards the well-being of others. And what about the green-eyed monster? Envy. Envy is that painful feeling you get when someone else has something you desperately want, and it makes you feel inferior. It's a powerful social emotion. Psychologists often distinguish between 2 types. There's malicious envy, the kind that makes you wish the other person would fail. It's a bitter, destructive feeling. But there's also benign envy, which is closer to admiration. This type can actually be a motivator. Seeing someone succeed can inspire you to say, "I want that, so I'm going to work harder to achieve it." The sin of envy is the malicious kind, the one that wants to tear others down instead of building yourself up. Moving on to gluttony. In the past, this was seen as a simple lack of willpower. But modern psychology paints a much more complex picture. Excessive consumption, whether it's food, media, or shopping, is influenced by our environment, our social circles, and even our brain's dopamine pathways. The constant availability of hyper-palatable foods and endless content streams hijacks our brain's reward system. It's not just a moral failing. It's a mismatch between our ancient survival instincts to stock up on resources and our modern world of abundance. Gluttony becomes a sin when this natural instinct spirals into a harmful excess that damages our physical and mental health. Then there's wrath, or as we usually call it, anger. Anger is a core emotion. It's a fire alarm that tells us a boundary has been crossed or we're facing a threat. In that sense, it's incredibly adaptive. Managed anger can be a powerful force for good, motivating us to stand up against injustice or protect ourselves. The problem arises when anger becomes chronic or misplaced. Think of road rage or constantly snapping at loved ones over small things. This kind of unmanaged anger is toxic, linked to everything from heart disease to depression. The sin isn't feeling angry. It's letting that anger control you and poison your life and relationships. Finally, we have sloth. This isn't just about being lazy and lounging on the couch all day, though that can be a symptom. Psychologically, sloth is often a profound lack of motivation, a kind of task avoidance behavior. And what's often lurking beneath it? Fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, or even fear of success. It can also be a sign of burnout or depression. While our instinct to conserve energy was useful for our ancestors, in today's world, chronic disengagement can lead to missed opportunities, social isolation, and a deep sense of unfulfillment. Sloth is the sin of giving up on your own potential. So, as you can see, a common thread runs through all of these so-called sins, a failure of self-regulation. Each one starts as a natural, even useful human impulse for self-worth, resources, connection, improvement, survival, or protection. They become deadly when we lose our ability to manage them, when our short-term impulses override our long-term well-being and our connection to others. Understanding the psychology behind these ancient concepts doesn't excuse harmful behavior. Instead, it empowers us. It allows us to look at our own tendencies with more compassion and less judgment. When you feel a surge of envy, you can ask yourself, can I turn this into motivation? When you feel pride swelling, you can check if it's lifting you up or pushing others down. By understanding these drives, we can learn to channel them more productively, finding a healthier balance between our primal instincts and the kind of person we aspire to be. It's about mastering our nature, not being a slave to it. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the human mind. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next video. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time.